Hey, it's Rob again. Welcome back. So, next thing I'd like to do, first of all, when we created the last filter, there's a subtle enhancement I think we should make, very small. And also, let's add another filter. Let's do a mirror filter because that'll be a lot of fun. So, the first thing I want to do is fix, it's almost a bug, but it's not really a bug. At the moment, your brightness, the max brightness you can give it is the original intensity. So really we want to give a little more dynamic range to the brightness and saturation effects. Um, so let's go to those two effects and we can set some arbitrary limits. I'm going to set them both to say 4 as the max. So 4 times, yep, 4 times. Now, if you apply saturation, let's see, what do we want for default? We'll say 1.5. Okay, so by default, if you apply the saturation filter, we oversaturate the image. And if we do the brightness filter, we'll do the same trick. We'll amplify the brightness as opposed to making it dim. Do I like that? Yeah, okay, that sounds good. So let's run that quick. And while that's running, we'll get ready for the next thing we're going to do. We're going to go into filters and we're going to create another filter. And I'll just copy one of the existing filters and we'll modify it. So here's our simplest filter. And this is going to be a very simple filter. So before I do that, let's just go over here and go to saturation. That looks better. I can already see it's a little more saturated. So the default was like here, and these are all oversaturated. And these are undersaturated. Okay, cool. That works for me. And another thing is the brightness. And we can already see that it's over brightened, which is good. And we should be able to make it glaring, absolutely. Hilarious. Okay, or nice and dark. So that works for me too. Something to play with. This is just for kids to play with. So next thing up, let's grab our color 8 filter and make a copy of it. And this is going to be the basis for mirror filter. And what's mirror filter going to do? Well, it's going to have a name, mirror. And this will be mirror right and left. I think you can make sense of that. Now, we're not going to use transform pixels because that visits each pixel and doesn't really give you knowledge of other pixels in the image. So let's take a look at image. That's where transform pixel is defined. And let's find transform pixel again. Transform pixels. Okay, here's what it does. It does this. It's processing pixels. So we want to do that ourselves in this case. So let's go back to our filters. And for our mirror filter, we're going to do something like the transform. Right? So what it does is it creates a new image that has the same size as the original image. So the original width and the original height. Then it goes through the Y all the way from the original, from 0 to the original height. And it goes through X from 0 to the original width. So we'll make that modification. And what does it do? Well, actually, in our case, we don't need to do this transform. Instead, we just want to pick a different pixel. Okay, so we'll call it P for pixel. There. So at the moment, and of course, we are grabbing a pixel from the original image. And so we're grabbing a pixel from the original image and we're setting it in the new image. At the moment, this is just a copy filter. What we actually want to do is grab a pixel at a different X coordinate. We want to go to the other side of the image. So I'm going to grab our width and say grab the pixel at width minus X. And one last thing, -1, I think. Let me think about that for a second. If x is 0, then I'm expecting this to be width -1. Perfect, that's exactly what we want. And if x is the width, we want this to be 0. Is that right? If x is the width, we want this to be -1? Oh, it'll never be the width. It'll only ever be the width -1. Yes. Okay, that actually looks perfect. So I think that'll give us a mirror effect. Let's run that. Oh, and we're not going to be able to run that, so I'll just stop that. We need to add it to our list of filters. So we now have a mirror filter. And I like leaving a comma at the end of these things, mirror, just because it makes the differences in Git easier to see. You know, if you add a line, it's it's a single line. Okay, there we go. There's the face. Let's go mirror right to left. That looks different, so that's good. Perfect. That's a right to left mirror. Okay, and of course that's a great one to be added with other effects. Yep. Okay, well thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.